Megan Javon Ruth Pete, known professionally as Megan Thee Stallion, is an American rapper. Originally from Houston, Texas, she first garnered attention when videos of her freestyling became popular on social media platforms such as Instagram. Megan Thee Stallion signed to 300 Entertainment in 2018, where she released the mixtape Fever and the extended play Suga, both of which reached the top 10 of the Billboard 200. She released her debut studio album Good News to critical acclaim, appearing on several year-end best album lists. She earned her first and second #1 singles on the US Billboard Hot 100 with the remix of her song Savage, and her feature on Cardi B's single Whack, the latter of which was her first #1 in several other countries, as well as the Billboard Global 200 chart. In 2021, she was featured alongside Doja Cat on the remix of Ariana Grande's 2020 single 34+35, which reached #2 on the Billboard Hot 100. She followed this with her debut compilation album Something for Thee Hotties, which reached the top 10 on the Billboard 200, and spawned the single Thought Shit, which reached the top 20 in the US and received a Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance nomination. Throughout her career, Megan Thee Stallion has received several accolades, including 6 BET Awards, 5 BET Hip Hop Awards, 4 American Music Awards, 2 MTV Video Music Awards, a Billboard Women in Music Award, and 3 Grammy Awards. At the 63rd Annual Grammy Awards, she became the second female rapper to win Best New Artist, after Lauryn Hill in 1999. In 2020, Time named her one of the 100 most influential people in the world on their annual list. Outside of music, she has focused on her education, graduating from Texas Southern University with a Bachelor of Science in Health Administration in 2021. Megan Javon Ruth Pete was born on February 15, 1995, in San Antonio, Texas, and her mother, Holly Thomas, immediately moved to Houston after her birth. Thomas rapped under the name Hollywood and would bring her daughter with her to recording sessions instead of putting her in daycare. Pete was raised in the South Park neighborhood of Houston before moving with her mother to Pearland, Texas at age 14, where she lived until she turned 18. Pete began writing raps at age 14, when she eventually showed Holly her rapping skills at age 18. Holly required that Pete wait until she was 21 to pursue rapping as a career. Her mother commented that her lyrics were too sexually suggestive for her young age. Pete attended Pearland High School and graduated in 2013. Her father died during her freshman year of high school. In 2013, while Pete was a student at Prairie View A&M University, she began uploading videos of herself freestyling on social media. A clip of Pete battling against male opponents in a cipher went viral. The exposure helped Pete gain a larger digital presence and following on social media. She garnered fans by posting her freestyles on her Instagram while in college. She refers to her fans as hotties and credits her hyperactive fan base for her early success. After taking time off from school, Pete resumed her studies at Texas Southern University. She graduated on December 11, 2021, with a Bachelor of Science in Health Administration. She adopted the stage name Megan Thee Stallion because she was called a stallion in adolescence due to her height and thick body frame. Voluptuous and statuesque women in the southern United States are colloquially called stallion. Megan Thee Stallion, whose real name is Megan Pete, is trying to sever her relationship with her record label, but she's hoping to get a 7-figure payout before they cut ties for good. According to People, the rapper's legal team has requested $1 million in relief from 1505 Certified Entertainment. It appears she's trying to end their professional relationship. Megan's attorneys state her last 2 albums fulfill the stipulations of her contract. The official complaint states that Megan and her record label have a long and tortured history of disputes, including the unconscionability of the agreement in its original form. The complaint said they've been able to resolve some of the disputes through the issuance of multiple temporary restraining orders against defendants from this court. However, it adds that a new dispute has arisen requiring further assistance from the court. The details of Megan's dispute with 1505 Certified Entertainment are not clear. However, the complaint reveals her label record argued something for Thee Hotties doesn't qualify as a full album, and so they won't release her from her contract yet. The label reportedly only told her this after the album was released. The complaint claims the record label is trying to take further advantage of Megan at great expense and in bad faith. So far, Megan's legal team hasn't publicly commented on the new filing. However, 1505 Certified Entertainment's lawyers have issued a public statement They don't deny that they had a problem with Megan's second last album, stating it features spoken word archival content and was released too soon, following her debut album Good News, which released in 2020. Our belief is she owes us one more album, at least, their lawyer, Stephen M. Zager, stated. The record label says it's still evaluating whether Trauamazine meets their criteria of a full album. Shortly after Good News released, Megan filed a lawsuit against her record label in March 2020. At the time, she says their relationship took a turn for the worse after she tried to renegotiate her contract. She claims the label then allegedly prevented her from releasing new music. When I signed, I didn't really know what was in my contract. I was young. I was like 20, Megan said at the time. It's really just a greedy game. At the time, she said she didn't want to leave the record label, but simply wanted to renegotiate her contract for future releases. The court eventually granted her a temporary restraining order, which allowed her to drop new music. The following year, she sued her record label, again over BTS's song Butter, which her vocals are featured on. Megan was granted an injunction. They say third time is the charm, so maybe this most recent lawsuit will finally end Megan's working relationship with 1505 once and